set it off. Go to Vegas, bet it all. Put it on the Bucs win, whoever they gon' play gon' fall. Don't say I ain't told y'all. Loose cannons gon' fold y'all. Yeah, the Heat be 9-3, but it gets real cold in the fall. That's when the season start. Bucs come in 40 hard. Win after win, ripping the division apart. Panthers, they pussycats. Falcons got bird flu. Take the Ravens and Dolphins and open up a zoo. Cause one thing's for sure, better than the Bucs, they show lane. And every day in Tampa Bay, we say fuck the Saints. We in Tampa Bay, baby. 813 going crazy. Tampa, boy. This Bucs podcast be the greatest. Loose cannons blasting on them haters. And we in Tampa Bay, baby. Tell them where you from. 813 going crazy. Yeah. This Bucs podcast be the greatest. Loose cannons.
What is up, Bucs Nation? It is Monday, March 24th, 2025, and you are watching the Loose Cannons podcast. I am your boy, the one and only Samar Ali, the bidet aficionado. And to your right is my counterpart, barefoot, pale, loves to smoke a Slim Jim on a Monday evening, stank bastard, the stank bastard. And before I introduce our esteemed big brain draft expert, I want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit that like button if you are Loose Cannon loyalists. And if you're new, get ready to hit that subscribe button about 20 minutes into this thing, because you're going to realize this is some of the best Buccaneer content you're ever going to consume in any fashion. I mean, whether it's entertainment, stats, knowledge, I mean, you're going to come away from this feeling like you are a better person, a shittier human being, and a much better Buccaneers fan, all in one. Okay, so make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. And at the end of the show, make sure you leave your comments in the comment section regarding how badly we did or how greatly we did. And of course, let me know how awesome my beard is. And as always, if you want your chat comment read, throw in a little bit of love with a super chat, and we will do our best to get around to it. Now to our guest, Big Brain. This guy is sort of a wizard of draftery, okay? If there was a Harry Potter about NFL drafts and actual sports, not some shit on a on a mop, or what are they on a mop, a broom, whatever they're on.
The broom.
Okay, this guy would probably be that dude on the sidelines who you wanted everyone to think was the bad guy in the first movie, but he wasn't. He looks kind of like a dog. Looks like that dude, almost like the fourth Musketeer, I guess, if you let your hair down. Luke Easterling of Athlon Sports. Why is your hair? Why is your hair not down?
I feel cheated. Where the fuck is
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I went with the hat this time.
No.
It's
unacceptable.
Like what? Why are you?
Sorry. It's back there. It's all there.
It's unacceptable. I thought we were going to get the fourth Musketeer look, all right? We've already got Izzy behind the glass, who's apparently shaved off half of his mustache, okay? We don't have him on camera tonight. Don't worry, folks. We will not mess up your Monday evenings, okay? Izzy, say hi for the
I did not shave my mustache, sir. I still have the Musketeer look going on.
Well, okay. Well, I was hoping that Luke would have the hair to... We'd see the lovely locks, okay? We'd get the explanation of why they put you in the Iron Mask, the whole story, okay? We would have gotten the whole thing.
Sammer, maybe if these mock drafts get heated, like he takes his hair down, like, oh fuck, I gotta take my hair down for this one.
Take his ears out.
I end up standing on the table for somebody in the fifth round. Yeah. It's coming down.
Yeah,
all right,
sweet. You hit the slow.
Hell yeah, I'm ready for it.
He throws it back.
So check it out, Luke. This is how it's going to work. Since you're the guest, you're going to be the actual GM tonight, okay? I'm going to be devil's advocate because I love Scar and I love Jafar and all the bad guys in every Disney movie. And Stank's just going to be the guy that runs coffee back and forth in the big boardroom, okay? Yeah, that's his job. That's what he's doing.
It's an important role. It's an important role, Stank.
Yeah, you got to keep us all awake, Stank, all right? And maybe color commentary, maybe a little bit of John Madden-esque type stuff in there.
Fly around me.
Apparently he's got some flies around him.
Pow!
So I'm going to set the table for you round by round, Luke. You give us the lowdown on these guys. We'll kind of, again, we'll go back and forth, and then you're going to make the choice. All right. So I want you to really put your signature on this. All right. And don't be afraid to let your hair down.
All right. Let's do it.
All right. Let's jump in here. baby, I'm excited about this one because we got somebody on here who knows what the fuck he's talking about. We did that with Pless of Real Bucks Talk, and then we went solo without anybody, and we we didn't know exactly what we were doing.
That was a nightmare.
Yeah, we met a guy named Johnson who was amazing as a football player. We knew nothing about him. We spent 20 minutes talking about Johnsons. So you know how that went.
I watched that episode. It was fantastic.
A great breakdown, right? You like that?
It was. I'm a viewer and a guest.
And a big fan of Johnson's, evidently.
Listen, the Johnson you guys were talking about, I'm a big fan of that one.
Hell yeah. You like those lean, long Johnsons, don't you?
Yes, sir.
The ones that create big plays in the end zone. Absolutely.
Heck yes.
Absolutely. Splash plays. That Luke, I mean, that Johnson.
If the ball comes his way, he's taking it the other way. You know what I mean?
I love it.
Somebody in the comments during that episode was like, I love your show and everything, but the Johnson stuff, I just can't take them. Like, bitch, you new?
Like, guys, you know where you are right now?
You gotta be new here, bro. You gotta be.
Wait a minute, Stank. First it was you smoking a cigar during an episode that someone was like, I can't do this no more.
Very upset I smoked on the show.
And now we're getting upset over Johnson talk. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I don't think these young men are very polite.
You came to the wrong show for politeness, sir.
I mean, I like the comments that want us to find Jesus and whatnot, but listen, that ship has sailed. All right. We all know it. Luke, are you making any trades before we enter this draft? Are you making a move to get, maybe a Trey Hendrickson, maybe a Micah Parsons? Or are we going in with what we got right now?
No, I'm going to go in with what we got here. I'm much more interested to see how the board falls, see if I want to move back a little bit. I think bringing in Hassan Reddick kind of takes the Trey Hendrickson thing off the table because I feel like the gap in production is not going to be massive for what I'd have to give up, not just in terms of the draft capital, but you're talking about a hefty extension for a guy who's near 30 years old. And so that's what would concern me most. Parsons would be a whole different deal, but you're talking multiple firsts. You're talking about a lot more investment there. And again, $40 million plus a year on a 3-4 year extension. So I'm going to sit at 19, see how the board goes, and then we'll see. I think I'm going to want to move down, but if the right Johnson's on the board, I'm going to have to consider it.
And
well said. Already though, Luke, before you say no, Steven Stansfield in the chat says Tarday Dean for a 6.
I was going to read that.
What do you say to that?
I'm open to Tardays
trade
in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. That a 6 is not enough to get me to move off of Jamel Dean. I agree. He's banged up and inconsistent, and I get all that, but he's also not got any guaranteed money left. If I get a crazy, Carlton Davis offer for him, a late third for him, now we're talking, but a 6 that's not enough for me.
And I want to apologize there to you, Stank, on behalf of Luke, who said he's not a fan of hefty. Okay. And I know that you grew up with that word. And so I wanted to make sure that I apologize to you. I didn't want you to be offended because he said he's not a big fan of hefty.
In that situation, yes. But if we're talking trash bags and nose tackles, it's a different conversation.
Sam, you're the one looking a little plump right now. All right. Look at my jawline right now.
People are actually thinking thinking there's something wrong with me. They think I might be dying, actually. So, yeah. All right. So we're going to start this out. All right. We're going in.
That's right.
Let's go. On the clock, Tennessee Titans go with Cam Ward. Okay. Pretty easy, don't they?
Is there any, listen, this illustrious podcast used to have sound effects. What happened to them? What happened? Where are they at?
We don't do that anymore. We just don't do it.
I want to hear that.
That's your job. I'm Devil's Advocate, assistant GM, and he's GM, and you're sound guy. You're sound effects Slim Jim guy.
I'm gonna let Slim Jim.
I'm only letting it go at this pace, Luke, just for the effect of these first 18 picks. Jihad Campbell gone at 10. Happens a lot on these simulations.
I think so right now.
Luke, what are we looking at here, man? What are you thinking?
I mean, we're looking corner first, especially with Jalen Walker and Jihad Campbell both off the board. Corner is where I'm most interested. If the right edge guy there, I'm not opposed to it. And there goes our Johnson. Our Johnson's gone.
Will Johnson.
Yep. And there goes Mike Green as well.
And this makes me definitely want to trade out of this pick. I'm not going to lie. And I watched the last episode, so I know, Sammer, how excited you are about Malachi Starks, and I don't necessarily disagree.
I think
I like Ezeraku. I like Ezeraku a lot. Obviously I want to see what the trades are. It looks like we only have one incoming. So it's gonna, I don't want to move out of the first round unless I'm getting something really, really nice.
So the Giants are offering us the 34th pick. Okay, I'm going to hang up the phone, tell them to fuck off. Okay, because that's ridiculous.
100%.
Not dropping out of the first round. Now, do you want me to filter out, maybe get our corners in there? We'll throw safety in there because that is a pretty good player, and I guess edge. You want me to throw in the defensive line here, Luke?
Yeah, interior defensive line.
Defensive line, and I'm honestly interested. There's a receiver like Ibuka is there. I'm considering that.
Are you a Grant guy? Do you like Kenny Grant?
Not in the top 20. He's athletic enough, especially for how big he is. I don't like, unless you're a rare, I don't think he's the rare like Vita Vea type of guy, which at 12, where he was picked after trading back and getting 2 extra second round picks when they did that move, I was fine with that. Grant doesn't feel like that type of guy to me. I think he's going to be a really good player for a long time, but I feel like I can do better here. I feel like Starks, is a versatile guy that in Todd Bowles' defense, I think could do a lot of things. I think Kenneth Grant is the opposite of that. I think he's a very clear cut, early down, run stuffing guy that's going to help. And I think eventually they will want to replace, have a successor for Vita Vea, but I don't think it's in the top 20, and I don't think it's right now.
So
why is everybody so down on James Pierce? That's a good question, B. Loggins. Everybody seems to be down on the guy.
He has no muscle. He's no meat on him, Stank. He's got to grow up a little bit physically. I think this
a little bit. Yeah, I think that's part of it. He's also, not to get like too technical here, but he's a very linear pass rusher. He's a very all gas, no break. If I get the corner and I can loop, then I win. If I don't, I'm like not stopping until I get to the tunnel. Like there's a very not a lot of lateral quickness, not a lot of ability to like adjust on the fly to mobile quarterbacks and shifty running backs in the backfield. So I think he's a one-trick pony right now, and that one trick is really great. If you only watch James Pierce highlights, you'd be like, holy shit, this guy can do everything and get after the quarterback. But when he's forced to go side to side, when he has to actually set an edge against the run, I think he gives up a lot. So he's a good athlete, straight line, but in terms of going side to side, he's got a lot of room to work. And he's just streaky. Just really streaky. The highs are highs, but there's a lot of inconsistency and a lot of lows where he just doesn't look like the same player. He needs to find that consistent snap by snap, not just production, but effort as well when it's, not a passing situation. That's why I think people are down on him.
All right. So Luke, Starks and Izaraku here are the more popular of the two between the Bucs fans, or in Bucs Nation. So I'm going to ask you, between those two guys, is there a reason you're still thinking you wanted to trade back? Obviously, we're going to make this pick here. Compare those two options, and then there's 2 offensive options here with Luther and then obviously Emeka out of Ohio State, the 2 wide receivers. I'd love to hear what you think about those 2 guys as well after that.
Yeah, so I think, moving back, you only got 6 picks, right? And I think trying to reload multiple starting positions, multiple premium starting positions, you're trying to get long-term help at the edge. You're trying to plan for life after Jamel Dean at one of your starting corners and make that a strength. You're trying to find another safety to start to make sure you don't have to force Tyke Smith into that role, and he can kind of move between the nickel and safety if you want him to again. So those picks, Starks being a guy that could play safety, could play in the slot, I think is huge. Ezraku being, again, his combine performance was huge for him, not because we're like, oh my gosh, he's an incredible, jump off the page athlete, but because he was highly productive already. The film was really good already. And so then when you go to the combine and you test your ass off, you're like, okay, what actually is not good about you? Like, there's no reason to, there's very few holes to poke in his game. Maybe a little undersized, but he tested really, really well. Production is off the charts, and just a really consistent, productive player at a high level. And so the technique is really polished. So you run out of reasons why he's not a top 5 edge in this class. And so if that's the case, again, Hassan Reddick helps now, but he's only under contract for 1 year. If he parlays that into a big deal, you don't want to necessarily be on the hook for, I think it was Tank Lawrence got a 3-year deal from Seattle, and those types of long-term investments. They didn't do that. So it's not like they won't need edge moving forward. So that's why I'd be interested in those 2 guys. The receivers, 2 very different players. Luther Burden III, a little more of a Deebo Samuel to him in that he can stretch the field, but he's best when you get him the ball quickly, let him work after the catch. He's kind of built more like a running back, kind of like Deebo is. And Ibuka, just, again, one of the most polished and pro-ready players in the whole draft. Could have been like a late first last year, came back, one of the many Ohio State guys who could have gone early last year and came back to win a championship, which they did. he's just really good at everything. He's the quintessential borderline wide receiver 1, wide receiver, an elite wide receiver 2, if not a really good wide receiver 1, just because he does everything so well. He's super polished, great route runner. And again, another year of experience. He was already that way last year. And so I feel like he gets lost in the shuffle because he's not 4.2 speed or he's not 6'4" and all those things. He's just really high quality at just about everything. I think Chris Godwin's kind of like that. He's not quite as big and physical as Chris is. But those are the things I like about those 4 guys. And again, trying to move back. If I felt like we could add a pick in the 3rd or 4th round range and still stay, in the 20s, get a shot at any 4 of those guys, I'd be happy about it, but it would have to take the right deal.
So with all that being said, Luke, who's your pick here? I do want to ask you one quick question. Somebody else mentioned in the chat too. Last year, the Bucs almost went with an interior defensive lineman. They would have if Graham Barton wasn't there. I believe it was the kid out of Illinois.
Johnny Newton.
Yeah, Newton. And now you got a Walter Nolan here, who I feel like that would be a really fucking good pick. You put somebody in the trenches. It's a Jason Light kind of guy. Obviously, you said he's a little too high for this spot. But is there a scenario in which the Bucs see him there and pass over Malachi Starks and Izaraku and go with the defensive lineman in the trenches, kind of solidifying that interior and really giving a little bit more freedom for the linebackers to move around and maybe make some of the edge rushing with the stunts and all the blitzes and stuff like that a little bit more stuff to play with for Todd Bowles?
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me at all. Again, they love to go trenches early. And again, Walter Nolan, five-star recruit coming out of high school, I think may have been the number 1 player in his class, just a ridiculous athlete. Still putting it together from a technique standpoint, but that's what your position coach is for, right? You get the tools in the building and then you refine them from there. And so that wouldn't shock me at all, both in terms of his talent level and the fact that Logan Hall finally started to play like an actual starting player last year, but I feel like they could still upgrade that, not just immediately, but in the long term. And Nolan, again, with a guy with that athleticism, he got such a high ceiling. He would be that other base interior guy. You got Cansey as the 3-tech, basically. You got Vita as the nose. And then Nolan would be that third guy that could start. And he's more of a penetrating 3 technique, not quite as active with his hands as Cansey has been. And he's really effective that way. But no, that again is why trading back would be so attractive to me, because there's 5-6 guys on the board right now. I can make a strong case why any of those guys are worthy of it. I'd put Derek Harmon in that conversation as well. Mm-hmm. That's why I'd love to say, hey, if I trade back 5 or 6 picks and I get a 3rd rounder or whatever, and I know I'm going to get one of those 5 guys either way, that's why I'd be happiest about that.
So now we're stuck at 19. I know who I would take, but this is yours. I would take the kid out of Boston College. I would run it up, but this is yours. So I'm going to let you make this choice, Luke. I believe we've had, unless there's some other wild card we haven't discussed, some corner that isn't on here.
Scroll down just a little bit. Let me see what's below these guys. I don't think there's going to be anybody that's going to change my mind here. No, I would go back up. And here, the reason that I'm going to make this pick is because we argue all the time about what, it's a chicken and the egg thing. Like, what's more important, the pass rush or the coverage, right? Because they do work in tandem, they do work together. I'm a firm believer in the pass rush comes first. And while if you were to look at my board in a vacuum, Malachi Starks, I have a higher grade overall on. He's higher ranked on my board. But again, I don't do my board anymore from a team perspective. It's all, macro 32 teams kind of considered it as a more general board, I guess, which is what most of the media does. So if I'm looking at the Bucs, while I do think that Malachi Starks would be a hell of a lot of fun in Todd Bowles' defense, and he would fill a certain role, I just don't think the back 4, the back 7, however many matter if you cannot consistently get to the quarterback with 4. And so for that reason, and again, what I said earlier about this guy, Donovan Ezeraku is such a complete player. There's really no hole in his game. There's, he can defend the run well. He's a very tightly packed guy. Like, he's a well-built, his frame is rock solid.
Oh yeah.
And he's just good at everything. And when you look at the numbers, the production is there again in a good conference, and he's a great athlete. Go look at the testing numbers. It backs up the film that you saw. I think it's harder to find edge rushers than it is to find quality safeties and defensive backs, and again, they do have a guy in Tyke Smith who already has that kind of hybrid role, who can play either one. And so I'm hopeful we can get a corner later. I'm going to prioritize the more premium position here.
Luke, you had me at tightly packed. Go ahead and run the card up.
I mean,
I was hoping when
he fills out his pants the right ways.
It's good. I'll make up for my hefty comment early and give you something tightly packed with Donovan Ezraku at 19.
I like
That's
it.
the pick, baby. Stank, make the sound.
Dun, 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 dun.
Nice. That was awesome, dude.
Thanks.
Stank, that was some of your best work, honestly.
You should just sample that and send it to ESPN. Like, y'all don't even need the sample anymore. I got the sound for you right here.
It sounded beautiful.
They can't afford me, but yeah, you could try that.
I'll negotiate a deal for you. All right, here we go. By the way, Luke, let me know at any point if you ever want me to pause this thing, if you ever want to trade up. Okay, if you see some guys that haven't gone through.
All right, yeah, I'll let you know. Again, with 6 picks, it's going to be tough, but I'll definitely keep it under.
Sammer, here we have a chance to make a wrong right. Okay, he's there again. It's Demetrius Knight Jr. We should have taken him last.
I thought we did we not?
Instead, you went full NBA.
Oh yeah, that's right. We went Chris Paul Jr.
You reached for Chris Paul, C4PO. I think we named him.
CP0.
Yeah, but you know what? We'll let the expert break it down here because there's a lot of good players that I don't know any of their names listed here. So
yeah, so typically, Luke, in this second spot, if we go edge, most of the time in these simulations they got us going either corner or linebacker, possibly safety. I love this kid, Knight Jr. out of South Carolina. The only thing on it is that he's a 25-year-old. Okay, other than that, I think he really is a very complete player. It could be the next Levante guy on this team. And does it feel an immediate, need? Obviously, he would come in, he'd have a very well-defined role from day one. I don't see a scenario where he doesn't actually win out. But again, I'm just kind of painting the picture. We went Chris Paul from Ole Miss because of the age, and we did think he's, similar players. So I'm curious what you would do here, and if you need me to filter this with any other scenarios here. But we got linebacker, corner, and safety on the board right now. So kind of break it down what you're looking at here. We got the corner out of Kentucky. We got the linebacker out of UCLA. Darian Porter feels like a Todd Bowles type corner. Feels a little bit rich for 53 possibly, but it's yours, man.
All right, guys, I have to take this call.
Oh, we're getting. Is that okay? All right. So the linebacker board is interesting to me because I think all of these guys are tight, are in the same range. Knight, I'm a big fan of Carson Schlesinger. Again, everybody's going to call him a one-hit, one-year wonder, whatever. But guys just do that sometimes. Guys finally get an opportunity. They finally, something clicks for them. And this guy goes from a former walk-on to an absolute stud at UCLA. So I'm a big fan of his. I like Chris Paul Jr. a lot. I love Kevin Winston Jr. as a safety. Yes. He's a guy that routinely, if he doesn't get hurt last year, he's nowhere near available in this range. I think he's a borderline first-round pick. And so there's a few guys in this class like that. Josh Simmons, the tackle from Ohio State, Siobhan Revelle Jr., the corner from East Carolina, where they don't get hurt. Those are top 10, top 15 guys. So if you get them at the back end of the first and they're back to full strength, I don't see why you wouldn't consider that. So, positionally, I'm kind of with you on those positions. I think if I'm thinking as Jason Light and looking at those patterns of this team, Darian Porter stands out to me because he looks so much like a carbon copy of Zion McCollum, just maybe even more upside. Again, a converted wide receiver, tested out of his mind at the combine. And that stuff, they do pay attention to that. He's got the length, he's got the height. He's a guy that I think there is a significant drop off in this corner class from the guys that will be available here versus the guys that will be available in the third round and beyond. And so that's the big consideration to me is, does the Bucs immediate need for that second linebacker, taking into account that they brought in some veteran guys to try to lift that floor a little bit, but nobody that gets me super excited, Anthony Walker's, just to make sure that KJ Britt doesn't have to get on the field if Servassier Dennis's, shoulder falls apart again. Mm-hmm. So that's my weight, my consideration here is how confident am I that I'm going to get a comparable linebacker in the third to what I can get here versus a comparable corner to what I can get here. And also the fact that I just think corner is a more valuable position. And while it may seem like a more immediate need to go linebacker here, it feels like next year Jamel Dean's going to be gone. Next year you've got Zion McCollum and what else beyond that, especially on the outside. So I like all three or four of these top linebackers here. I do like a couple of the corners, but Porter for me is the guy that stands out as a Buck. Like he's the guy that I think fits the bill plays the more premium position. He's an incredible athlete and still, again, just scratching the surface, similar to Zion when he came into the league, was just barely getting started at that position. That feels like the best marriage of, again, premium position, guy with high upside, great athlete, and what the Bucs would do, not just planning for this year, but 2-3 years down the road. Darian Porter feels like the guy that makes the most sense to me.
The only thing I would say about him from, what I've read and what I've seen film breakdowns and stuff is that he's not exactly the best at run support, which is something that the Bucs do ask their corners to do. So I wonder if
and
that's
something that I value highly. Like I'm a big, if I'm watching tape on a corner,
here, obviously.
Yeah, so. Exactly. So a corner that's going to stay. Quincy Riley from Louisville stands out as like my go-to 3rd round pick because he's like that. Not the most sure tackler in terms of the technique, but again, we can clean that part up. I can't teach you how to want to stick your head in there and get physical in the run game as a corner. Like you just either have that or you don't. And so Quincy Riley is a guy, again, plays slot, can play outside, big playmaker. He's a guy I always target on the third, in the 3rd round. If I do go linebacker here, which again, if I go linebacker here, I am a bigger fan of Carson Schlesinger than I am of Demetrius Knight. Part of that is the age. Part of that is I just love guys who used to be walk-ons who ended up working their way into a star position. I think that says something about who you are as a person and a player, and I think it speaks to the character that the Buccaneers are kind of built around. So if I went linebacker, I would go Schlesinger. But again, I think it's too important to have those corners. And if you're telling me that I've got an elite, pass rusher coming in as Araku, and now I'm giving myself another big, tall, fast, athletic, long corner in Porter, I feel happy that I'm dealing with both the chicken and the egg and getting the pass rush and addressing the coverage at the same time.
Yeah, just another note on the linebackers too. As much as I love Knight Jr. and even Chris Paul Jr. because of Pless, there are other guys like the kid out of Cal, Teddy Buchanan, and then the kid out of OSU, Nicholas Martin, who can be had later on and come with chips on their shoulders, which again fit a lot of what the Bucs like to find attitude-wise, mentality-wise later on in the draft. We're going to come in, are going to work their asses off, and I feel like
what do the trades look like here? Do we trade down from the second? Do we have anything that
the next pick is to go down 5 spots with the Texans for
6 trades potentially?
Yeah, and then they kind of go down from there: 59, 73, 78, 80, and 83. I like moving down a few spots if you like more than a few guys, but I really do like Darian Porter. He's been a guy I've picked a lot of times in these mocks, and I see him. He just fits Todd Bowles so much; it'd be hard to pass up. But this is up to you, obviously. I think the next
what would they give us? What would Houston give us to drop down here?
So they would swap those two.
Mostly because I like all 3 of those linebackers too. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot there.
We can ask them for 89. Probably not going to take it. 166 for 53. We get 58, 166 for 53.
That's not enough.
Yeah, I feel like the gap between 157 and 235 would not be closed enough with that, and also this gap here.
Yeah.
You guys leaning towards the quarter?
Yeah, I like that Darian Porter kid. I feel like that's what's happening with the Wizards as well.
I see a lot of people in the chat saying that Porter is a really good high pointing. He's like a ball hawk. Is that something that's...
He's a wide receiver. Yeah, he's a former wide receiver.
Wide receiver, man. Natural ball skills. There's a couple other corners I like in terms of the big plays. Mello Dotson from Kansas is a guy that got his hands on a lot of passes and took a lot of them back to the end zone.
Got his hand on a lot of balls is what you're going to say. Just say it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't hesitate. Yeah. Okay.
When the ball comes his way, his hands are on it. And
this is a massive...
He's taking it home.
This is a massive ball skills podcast.
It is.
So really lean into that, okay? We're really trying to sell that product. And so here are all the corners on the screen here. I see a lot of guys that like to get their hands on balls. Luke, it's your pick, though, man.
Yeah, I'm going to take Porter. He fits exactly what the Bucs like at the position, and you've got to guard against Dean not being there next year. And I think to have Zion McCollum and Zion McCollum 2.0 on the outside after this season, I think it'd be a huge asset. So I'm confident I can get productive linebacker help later. And if I can't, again, that's what free agency is for. You're going to bring in. There was a great tweet from Brett Coleman, who does some great film breakdown stuff on Twitter and on he's from Bootleg Football. He had a great tweet about why it's so hard for linebackers to come in and make an immediate impact, and because the hash marks and the game is so different. He has a bunch of nerd stuff about it, but it makes me think that teams are much more likely to try to invest in veterans in free agency if they need immediate help at linebacker than they are to try to draft a guy in the top 3 rounds and think oh, I'm just going to throw him in the starting lineup and he's going to make immediate impact. I think it's a lot harder to do that at linebacker. So I'm going to err on the side of thinking I can get value and production at that position later and adding in free agency next offseason once Levante, if he does move on. I feel like the upside with a guy like Porter at that position is too much to pass up here.
All right, Stank, make the sound.
Boo, 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 boo.
Welcome to Tampa Bay, Darian Porter. Oh, man, what a draft so far. What a pick. All right, I guess we're not really going to be moving up, so I'll just kind of let this thing play out. Listen, Luke, you're doing a fucking phenomenal job, by the way. You're really explaining what you're thinking here. You're really taking us into the mind of a general manager and a wizard all at the same time.
I mean, I got to live up to the hype after the intro, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, so already off the bat, I'm super jacked because Kevin Winston Jr. is still on the board.
Oh, shit, yes.
And it's going to be real hard to get me to pick anybody else. I'm not going to lie. So we can look at the board and see who's there.
Luke, is it because you just miss having a Winston on the team? Is that why?
No, it's not. Although when this guy makes a bunch of interceptions, I will be much happier. That's for sure.
That was really good answer.
So Winston interception is going to sound a lot better in this case than Winston
it is.
interception.
Winston picked off is not going to make everybody in the press box go, well, yeah, that's not what we expected.
He is a junior also. We're big fans on this podcast of anyone with junior in their name. Obviously,
there's a lot of really great juniors in this draft.
Yep. I'm all
Kelvin Banks Jr.
I don't really like
Josh Connerly Jr., RJ Harvey Jr. There's a lot.
Get away from the hyphenated guys. I don't like the hyphenated names. I like juniors. You know,
hyphenated. Here's the thing. I hate hyphenated player names because they fuck up my sheets. They mess up my big boards and all my Google sheets. They make the cells like way wider than they have to be, and now it's all off the screen. It annoys me. So like,
I wish that Joe Tryon would have just went Joe Shoyinka, because I feel like if Shoyinka off the edge would have been way faster.
You're not saying his name right at all. It's Shoyinka. You're putting the emphasis. You're putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
On the wrong syllable.
I said Shoyinka.
No,
I said it right.
You're saying it's Shawinka, like it's an Arab.
I didn't put a W in there.
You're like saying Joe Tryon.
It's not Wayne's World. Yeah. It's not Wayne's World. It's not Shawinga.
I didn't say Schwinka.
He said Joe Tryon shawarma is what I heard, which is phenomenal.
Shawarma.
You're just hungry.
Now I'm hungry.
I am hungry. All right, so it's Winston Jr. here is what I feel like. Unless you want to scroll down,
scroll just a little. Scroll a little. I mean, just to make sure I'm not missing anybody. I will say this in a vacuum. Jalen Royals, the wide receiver out of Utah State, is the best player that no one is giving enough credit to. Like, just in general, the Bucs really don't need a receiver here. And I for the Bucs, I'm taking Winston all day long. But Jalen Royals is a top 5 or 6 receiver in this draft. And
can we see some
early
interior defensive line? Do you have it? Is it completely?
It's all open right now. I think we can look at the
I will add too about that Winston Jr. kid. If the Bucs get him, he legitimately would be the steal of the draft. If he comes back healthy and anywhere near what he was, that would be the steal of the draft. No matter who we pick, he would be a steal.
And he makes 2 positions better because he goes to safety, immediate starter with a 3rd round pick, which is amazing. And then you can keep Tyke in the slot, which makes both of those positions stronger. And so this is an easy pick for me. I do like some of these interior guys. I like the top 4 guys on that interior list, but I think we can get one of those guys in the 4th, and I'm going Winston all day long here.
Run it up.
What?
Stank? We're moving along. Yeah.
Stank?
Yep. I say Winston too.
No. Make the sound.
Oh wait. Yeah. Oh.
He doesn't want your opinion. He doesn't care.
That's why I walked away. That's why I walked away for 15 minutes and came back and did the sound.
I like how Luke also has kind of just walked right in and immediately just ignores when you were talking. He just talks right over you. He understands how this pod works. It's amazing. Listen, Luke, you're killing it right now. Honestly.
Here's the thing. Luke's one of the few guys.
Okay, so like I said, when you're talking about...
Love it.
It's great.
I was about to give you credit. I was going to say,
I know, but I have to keep going with the bit.
Yeah.
Finally, it's not me getting talked over.
So far, okay, we got the edge rusher. Okay, we got a starting corner of the future as well. And looks like we got a starting safety for many years right next to Antoine Winfield Jr. We're crushing the draft right now, Luke. You're absolutely crushing it. It's time to let your hair down, honestly. All right, here we are.
The draft is going so well. Keep the hair up.
4th round, here we are. Okay, still have some positions in need. Okay, there's some fan favorites here. Obviously, Nick Nash, Patty Whack, give my dog the ball. Probably still on the board here, I believe. Yep, there he is. Okay,
Yes, he is.
Huge fan of Nick Nash. Just the Nick Nash podcast, Luke. Okay,
It's a big Nick Nash podcast.
Just because of the name. We know nothing about him. I don't know what he looks like. No idea. Is he handsome? Is he ugly? Is he fat? Is he no idea? None.
Sammer,
but love his name.
Pull up a photo.
Very experienced, very productive player.
Of Nick Nash, Patty Whack?
I got no problem with him.
Hey,
I do believe he was
dimples.
too. I do believe he was too afraid to play USF in the bowl game, and he opted out of the bowl game because he was like, I can't play against USF. That's too scary. So that was kind of disappointing.
Nick Nash smiling. Okay, right here.
You know what? Not impressed.
Let's pull it up.
So you're not impressed?
Not impressed. No.
I will say he's not my favorite receiver on the board right now. There's a couple of guys there I like.
I don't like his hair.
Better.
I don't like his hair. Fuck that guy's hair. All right. Go ahead, Luke.
I mean, the big thing to me right now is we don't have a linebacker yet, and that's concerning to me.
Okay.
I do wonder at this point in the draft whether or not Barrett Carter could get me excited. And here's the thing too, Quincy Riley. I'm a big Quincy Riley fan. I don't know if he'd be there in the 5th or wherever. I think we might have a big jump between picks here. Or it's after the next pick. So maybe I would still get him, but doubling up at corner is not out of the question for me, just because when injuries happened last year and you were having to walk Josh Hayes out there and Tyrek Funderburk and all that, like that can never happen again. We can't do that ever again. So I firmly believe they're double dipping at corner.
I firmly believe they're going to double dip at corner and possibly at linebacker, depending on what is left at the end. But curious what you think of Noah Williams. I love this kid. Again, he looks and feels like a Todd Bowles corner. Looks good on paper. I believe he had a slower 40 time than what you want from your corner, but he's also tall, plays a little bit faster than that 40 time. I really like this guy because he can do a lot of things. Maybe it lets Todd play more man coverage, maybe a little bit more press man because he's a bit more of a physical guy. Curious what you think, though, Luke.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all that. The interesting thing to me about watching Todd's defense is, like we've said for years, he's like, oh, he likes these big, tall press man corners. He doesn't play it. He doesn't play press man.
But is that because of necessity of no pass rush? Is that because of no linebackers?
That's what he says, and that's part of it, right? It's just if you don't have if people say that all the time about just rush 3 and rush 4 and let Mahomes stand back. They're like, yeah, well, do you have 4 that can get to the quarterback? Because otherwise it doesn't matter. Not everybody can run Todd Bowles' scheme because not everybody has Vita Vea who can drop back in coverage and knock Jake Ferguson's head off 8 yards downfield. You can't, if you don't have the horses, you can't run the scheme necessarily. So,
Sammer, show me the interior D-line guys again, please. She's ignoring the position. You ignore the position. I need beef, bro. Look at we haven't drafted any beef.
None. All right, great. All right, good point. I'm gonna ask because I wanted to ask Luke about this guy, JJ out of Mississippi, out of Ole Miss.
JJ Piggies.
Yeah,
Listen, I would draft him.
Piggy. His last name is Piggies. I mean, how much fatter can you get? Go ahead.
He was an offensive weapon in high school, and so if you go watch some of the Ole Miss games, they would line him up as a wildcat quarterback on the goal line, and he would take direct snaps and score touchdowns.
Yeah,
I'm not kidding.
24 hurries for an interior defensive lineman, pretty impressive. 4 sacks, 6'2".
He's a fun player, man.
325 pounds, and his last name is Piggies. I mean, what is it? Him or Williams? Which way are you leaning here, Luke? Because I like this kid. I have him in a couple of my mocks earlier on, but then Williams is always there, and I always just can't not pick him and double dip at corner, especially if I don't get that Kobe Bryant kid out of Kansas. So, I'm giving you
a couple of things. I mean, I like Barrett Carter a lot because we don't have a linebacker, and I think he's a good fit. I think he's a 3-down guy. He can blitz some. He can cover. And if we're talking about needs, that one stands out to me, and I think he's a solid value there. If they go corner, I'm not convinced that they wouldn't want somebody like a Quincy Riley who can play inside and outside, as opposed to another guy like Williams who's more similar to Porter, who we already drafted. Pegues is fun just because, again, I think that the versatility, the athleticism is fun, and you can never go wrong, in my opinion, just loading up the trenches on both sides of the ball. If you had a draft of only offensive and defensive linemen, no matter who you are, I'd be like, you know what, I can't really even be mad at that. So
he's a
the question
athlete.
becomes,
I love it.
A fat
the question becomes, do you draft depth or do you draft need here? If you draft need, I think you take Barrett Carter. If you draft depth, then you're looking at Pegues or you're looking at Williams or one of these other. Even again, we talked about receiver. If we come out of this, if the Bucs come out of this draft with no offensive players, my feelings aren't going to be hurt at all.
So Luke,
like that's how much they need on defense.
The trade scenarios, Spytek's on the phone. He wants to give us 143. That moves us down a 12 pick or 22 pick. Sorry. I feel like if you're not crazy about any of these guys, that's something you'd consider, or is this like a hey?
It is. And the big thing to me is I'm looking at that giant gap between 157 and 235, and I hate that. I don't like letting 2 full rounds go without making a pick. And so if there's something we can get in that range, I'd be a big fan of moving down a few spots here.
So we could ask for 143 and 180, give him 121.
You know, the 143 is the love pick, right? Everybody know? Old school people like
hey, we've got a 74% chance here. See if they'll tack on one of those 7s.
Which one?
The earliest one until they say yes.
213, I believe, is compensatory pick, and so is 215. That one is
the
222 not
222
going to happen. 215? No.
They can't trade this. Oh no, they can trade comp picks now, right?
Yeah, they can. They finally can. Damn.
So
they really like those 7s, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's enough. Getting 180, I think, is enough for me. It really does put us right back in that gap.
So you want to give that up? You want to give up any of those players that we just discussed and just gain a couple extra picks here, or get an extra pick?
Yeah. I think I'm happier with the ability to go into this and say, hey, I can get one extra guy. I can get a receiver who falls. I can get an interior guy that falls and build my depth and fill one other position with a guy that's going to be comparable to who I can get here. I'm not super like I have to have any of the guys that are on the board to the point where if they're all gone, I'm going to be super bummed.
I disagree with you. I would love Noel Williams, but this is your draft. You're the GM tonight, so I'm going to offer this trade. And Spytek has said yes. Good to have friends in
high
places.
Yep. Dave OG says, this is a great episode, man. Love the breakdowns. You're welcome, Dave. You're welcome. You know what?
We've been studying.
That's what I bring to the show, the breakdowns, and I'm glad you tuned in, man. Make sure
we're moving down.
Stank's carrying us. Carrying us here, man. You're doing a great job.
While these picks are going off, make sure you guys hit that like button if you haven't already. And of course, if you're new, you should have already smashed that subscribe button, because this is probably the best mock draft you've ever watched. Okay, it's also the most beautiful. On top of that, so it's a double win. Okay, so it's win-win there. Hit that subscribe button, and if you don't agree with any of these picks, not only let us know in the chat, but if you're watching this and it's no longer live, let us know in the comments section who you would have picked and why we're idiots for not doing that. Okay, I'd love to hear it. We're not going to read any of it, but I'll let Luke know so that Luke can read it and Luke can feel like absolute dog shit tomorrow. All right, Luke, we've gone through.
Read what? I'm gonna leave that on red, baby.
There you go. Awesome. Even better.
Hell yeah.
Please waste your time and drop us some
real
comments.
Gangsters do. That's what
All right.
real gangsters do.
It'll make you feel better, but we won't see it.
Yep. All right. So I'm going to filter linebackers, D-line, and should I throw corners in there for you, Luke? Because I do think they will double dip at some point.
Yes.
So here's the lay of the land. I like that kid, by the way, Barrow Jr. out of Miami. Really solid guy. But your Quincy Riley that you absolutely love is right there at 143, and we have another pick here in about 14 spots as well. I like O'Donnell Fortune, by the way, as another corner that fits this scheme really, really well. You let me know what's going down here. What your thought process
I'm going Quincy Riley all day long. Again, versatility, inside, outside. If somebody gets hurt, he can play the slot. Somebody gets hurt on the outside, he can play out there. Again, tough, physical guy who's willing to stick his head in there against the run. Go back and watch his 2023 tape, if you find that instead of 2024. He's a little bit banged up last season, so he wasn't the same type of playmaker. He was way better in 2023. So if he's fully healthy, I think we'll see that version of him. Which again, if we're going just off of that film, there's no way he makes it this far in the draft. So I'm super stoked that he's there.
I think I read too. It says he's twitched up, which I really like that. And I don't ever want to see Christian Izzy playing outside ever again. So I'm good with that.
It's a lot of those. I mean, it's the same thing. Again, I bag on Josh Hayes, but he's not an outside corner. Like he never should have had to be out there.
Player, that's it.
Yeah, Tyrek Funderburk as an undrafted free agent rookie should have never had to be lining up against, Terry McLaurin in the playoffs. Like there's no, like that's just not something that's good for you at all. So if you're telling me I can build the depth and get a guy who's on the outside, get a guy who can play on the inside, I'm super happy with that.
So what is your response to the knock on him or the cons on his list of he's not as physical, he's a little bit plays less physical than you want from a corner, a little bit undersized?
I think it's bullshit. I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with that at all. That is not what I saw on tape at all. I think he's plenty physical. I think Todd likes to play a lot of top-down coverage in terms of his, bringing guys off and guys that can click and close. So keep things in front of you, but as soon as you see what's happening, you're able to click. You're able to make tackles. That is what I see. I think he's plenty physical. I don't know. I don't agree with that at all. That's not what I saw on tape.
Sam, before you make the pick, can you just add receiver to the list there? Just curious.
Yeah, I'd like to see the receivers. Why not?
What receivers
we did pass up on Nick Nash Paddywhack, Give My Dog the Ball, and he's right there. Okay. Average draft position is 158.6. We do have a pick at 157. I think Luke's thinking, I'm going to get a corner here. I'm going to go Nick Nash Paddywhack, Give My Dog the Ball. And now we've double dipped exactly the way he likes in terms of the guys that he's looking at on the board. Could be completely wrong here. Could be full of shit.
Again, if we go receiver, he's not the guy that I would have in mind. I like Kyle Williams out of Washington State. He's the guy that I would go to.
Will he be there though? Will he be there?
Will he be there? We'll see. That's the thing. At this point in the draft, I'm super happy with like 8 different receivers and a few different. The only thing I'm upset about right now is that we're not going to get a linebacker that's going to make an immediate impact. But again, you can't have everything every time.
There's a couple of guys that I named off I really do think could be those dudes because they come with that chip on their shoulder, Luke. So we've attacked the secondary with this pick if we do this. We've gone 3 straight secondary picks after the edge rush, which, again, you said they were complementary hand in hand. Stank, I need that sound effect.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Man, shit's dope as fuck. Hook it up with a little bit more. Throw some techno in there next time on it. All right, there you go. There's your pick, Quincy Riley out of Louisville. A corner for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And look, we're picking very soon thereafter. Here are the guys. Where are we going? We going Quinn Ewers here to tell Trask his time here is limited, or what are we doing, Luke?
Listen, I will say this, and I firmly believe this. Draft a quarterback every year if you can. They're too valuable. If you find a guy that you don't even need, trade him for something that's more valuable than what you picked him for. Go ask the Patriots what's happening with Joe Milton III right now. It's the same type of thing. It's too important of a position. So I'm not opposed to that, but we still need too many other things. I like Kobe King out of Penn State if we're talking about linebackers. Cody Simon is a guy that played his ass off in the college football playoff. He's a guy that maybe not the top end athlete necessarily, but if you're talking about a locker room guy and a leader and a guy who, again, chip on his shoulder type of guy. Danny Stutzman, same way. Jay Higgins, really solid in coverage. Jamin Dumas-Johnson. I like really all of these linebackers that are here.
But what do you think about how Ted Yee spells his name? Does that eliminate him right off the bat? What is that about?
It makes me wonder how he spells.
That elevates.
Is it like Theodore? Is like the full name is like Theodore? How many D's are in there? I don't know. How many D's can you fit in Teddy? That's the question.
Do that again.
I don't know.
I like him. I think you can't take him at 157, but that's one of the guys that I'm talking about linebacker wise. I think comes in and could possibly steal a position. It could get on the field sooner than later and sooner than when you think. But also brings elevates your special teams, adds some speed there, some physicality, and gets his feet wet that way. I do like that kid. Not here.
What is it about this particular mock draft that's keeping you away from beef, man? I thought you were. I'm
following what my general manager is telling me.
I'm just curious.
My general manager right now is very concerned with the linebacking core. Okay, not happy with it. Okay, he's apparently.
First of all, I just want to point out that we have a defensive lineman named Tonka that is available, and automatically stock up.
He met with the Bucs. Okay, at the combine. I like him. At this spot, he's not a perfect. None of these guys are perfect, but at this spot, I do like him. Could you get him at 180? Possibly. He could be gone there. I like Tim Smith as well. But again, you're the general manager, Luke. So
I need to see the receivers again. I need to see the receivers because I'm a big fan of Kyle Williams, and if he's still there, I'm going to have a hard choice here.
And he's there.
There he is, man. But so is Nick. He's there. Give my dog the ball. I
mean, you're going to keep riding that pick, aren't you? You're just going to keep driving it home.
I mean, yeah. Why not, man? I mean,
Yeah.
That is.
We didn't like his hair though, so
don't like his hair. But listen, at 180, I could, maybe you could get him into Latte's barber chair. Maybe you could fix him up. Okay, maybe you can hook him up. Okay,
that's what I was thinking.
We do have that on our side when going into these drafts. Okay, thinking, listen, we may not like a guy hair wise, but we have the ability to fix that, right? We can bring him in. We can fix his shortcomings, and one of those shortcomings is literally his long hair. We can short clip it, fix it, figure it out. So that is on our side, Luke. So
look what happened.
Don't let the hair steer your picks awry.
Remember, Bucky came in with all that hair.
Yeah, fucking dumb.
Cut his hair.
Bam.
Should have been rookie of the year.
Bam. Just like that. You ain't wearing that kind of hair in Florida.
No.
Yeah,
listen, I traded down. I traded down so I could get this pick, so I could make somewhat of a luxury pick, right? I don't think the Bucs need a receiver right away. But I think having depth there is never a bad thing, especially in an offense that can spread the ball around. Mike Evans, he's the ageless wonder, but you gotta have depth. Those guys both got banged up last season, him and Chris, and so you got to guard against that. But I'm taking Kyle Williams.
Luke,
it's Washington State. It's Kyle Williams for me.
He's from the state of Washington. I don't think we've ever not drafted a guy from the state of Washington. Every draft ever, I feel like Washington, somewhere in that state, we get somebody. So
and I'm there now, so I feel like I have to represent now that I'm up that way. So
ridiculously productive too, man. Almost 1,200 yards.
He's just a solid player, man. Just very well-rounded wide receiver, great route runner, can line up
targets. What?
Yep.
17 yards per reception. I mean, yeah, I like this pick. 6 foot, 186, probably a little bit later now. All right, that's your pick. Stank?
That's my pick. I love the value here.
Stank, you're up.
Do. You said you wanted to look. You said
I'm impressed with like
I don't know. You said you said you wanted some more.
I wanted a little bit more LaBouche, a little bit of LaBouche in there, but you didn't really get it. Right?
LaBouche, bro. Wow. The fact that you even know LaBouche.
Hell yeah, dude. I know my shit, dude. I'm in my shit. All right. Here we are. We're at 180 here. This is where you really, this is where you really make your money as a general manager. Okay. We got Tonka available. He met with the Bucs.
Hemingway.
I think they do need to address some of that rotation inside. Vita Vea doesn't play a lot of snaps, which is kind of crazy. I don't like it. But if you're going to go that route with him and try to keep him fresh, why not bring in a fat motherfucker like Tonka? Great fucking name, by the way. And tell him, hey, get to Florida. Vita, first thing you're doing, you're picking him up from the airport. You're taking him to lunch. Okay, and after that, you're taking him to lunch. After that, you're taking him to dinner. And then after that, you guys are going to go out for dessert. And after that, probably a little bit late night snack. Tacos, like 800 of them. Yeah. So that's the guy I'm leaning towards. But you're the general manager, Luke, like I've said all night.
You're blocking it. Nobody can see who's available because you're blocking it right now. There you go.
Yeah, again, I'm intrigued by the quarterbacks here just in terms of the positional value. But for this team and the fact that his name is Tonka, I cannot not pick him here. There's just no way.
What about Denzel Burke? I know we got two corners already. I do like him at Ohio State.
Corner.
He's all right. Again, he's more Jag territory for me. I think he's just a guy. I think would I rather have him out there than Josh Hayes and Funderburk? Yes, probably. But I feel like taking a third corner here is a little bit over the top when we really do need a little bit of beef here, especially since then, finally Stank.
Scroll down a little bit about it. Scroll down a little bit. Let's see with some other guys on here.
The linebackers are interesting to me still. I think, we could go. Ty Robinson is an interesting guy, had a hell of a combine.
He's also a Nebraska guy. We got the connection with Jason Light. And also Tafuna is also a defensive lineman that the Bucs also met with at the combine. So we got those, we got Tonka, Tafuna, two guys they met with, and of course the Nebraska connection and Ty Robinson, which I'm not even joking. He will draft a guy out of Nebraska because he's going to have a little bit more of a front row seat to the guy. He's going to have a little bit more insight to him. Could that be a one that you're going to consider there, Luke?
That's a guy I would hope would be there at 235, and if I am, I'd go somewhere else here, probably linebacker with this pick. Who's there from at linebacker still?
My guy.
Because I think that's real. I think the whole Nebraska Jason Light thing is absolutely real.
Yeah, definitely.
Ted Yee is still here, and I still also like Nicholas out of OSU. I think those guys can still be had in the next pick. So if you're able to get two linebackers out of this, or one linebacker, and it's one of those two guys, I think you're winning. Because again, late pick, chip on shoulder, hard-working Levante type mentality guys. Levante type guys, okay? They love ball. Go ahead, Luke.
Oh, I love it. Is it bad that I want to like trade down from here to get one more seventh to take one of those quarterbacks? That's how greedy I am.
What are the trade offers?
That's how greedy I am. I want one of those quarterbacks just to have him.
Indianapolis wants to give us 189 and move us down 9 spots, or we go down to 205 with the Washington Commanders.
What do we get? We get 232 with it.
Let's look at 189. Let's see what they got here. I mean, we could ask for it, sure, and then we give up this one from. We always remember this 180th pick is the one we got from Vegas. So
true, we're playing with house money here.
I like it. I like it.
Here, we move down 9 spots. Tonka will be gone. 100%. Tonka will be gone.
I don't know.
Yeah, but then I go Robinson later. So,
but I like Tonka. That's a guy.
But this is Luke's draft, not yours.
I'm just being I'm playing devil's advocate.
He's a wheeler dealer. Luke is out here just getting crazy. Yeah. You know, he's got his hair in a bun, and he wants to fucking make fucking trades. So I think we let him do it.
First general manager with a bun. I think
wheel and deal. It's in a ponytail this time. I didn't bun it for you.
You didn't bun it. Oh, my bad.
I'm sorry, dude. You got really offended that we called you a librarian.
That's more. That's more. Trevor. Remember, Trevor Sikkema had to rock the man bun for quite a while.
Listen, I can't touch Trevor when it comes to the hair.
Never liked the dude with the man bun. I'm not ashamed to admit it. Okay, I just don't like it. Doesn't look right. Pisses me off, honestly. Like fucking cut it or let it down.
I think you're jealous.
Not jealous at all. I don't care about hair. I'm just saying.
I
don't like
imagine.
I mean, clearly you care because you have a very, very spirited reaction to it. You have a clearly like.
I don't like the indecisiveness. I don't like the indecisiveness. You're going long, go pirate. If you're not, cut it off.
I feel like a man bun would fit your look.
Nah, Jafar didn't have a man bun. Scar didn't have a man bun.
We never got to see Jafar's hair. How do you know?
I've seen Jafar's hair. What are you talking about?
They also lost and died
at dinner.
So you know.
And when he became a genie, he had a little thing on top.
Scar had a man bun. He had a long, beautiful.
Scar didn't have a man bun. No. No. All
right.
Are we doing this trade, Luke? You want this trade?
Yes.
Right,
trade it.
Trade.
Here we go.
Trade it up.
Man, just moving all around with these AFC teams.
Moving and grooving.
Yeah, with these AFC teams. Move down 9 spots.
Look at all these picks we have. Holy shit.
Moving down 9 spots, and Burke is there. Okay. You want me to filter this for defensive linemen or linebackers there? Luke?
Linebacker, both.
Linebackers, interior defensive line, and quarterback.
Junior Tafuna is there.
There's Tafuna. Okay. Ted Yee is still there. Okay. But we can get him at 232, probably 235. I'm excited about this.
Horsley's still on the board.
The more we do this draft, the more I'm turning into John Gruden, I'm noticing.
Yeah, I think.
What are we going here? We going with Tuna? I'm not calling him Tafuna. I'd call him Tuna right from the get-go.
You did say you're a junior guy, and there's a guy with junior in his first name.
I like Jay Higgins a lot as a linebacker. If we're talking linebackers, I think his best trait is coverage, and that's really what the Bucs have lacked. Guys that just are lost in space and coverage. I think that's his best trait.
Yeah, but Ted Yee sounds like a pirate. Ted Yee.
It's true. It's true. What are the quarterbacks? Who are the quarterbacks left? Do we take him here?
With this quarterback shit, dude. No, you're taking a quarterback 235, maybe. That kid out of fucking
I feel like you don't like Kyle Trask. So for some reason.
I think Kyle Trask is who he is, which is why he signed for a contract that's not even going to count against the cap as much as he's actually going to get paid. Because that's
every offseason, me and Kyle meet at Home Depot. You know what? And I might have to whisper in his ear.
No, you don't meet at Home Depot. You meet at Lowe's. He's a Lowe's guy, which tells you all you need to know.
I met him at Home Depot last year.
He's a Home Depot guy then. Okay.
Yeah, he's a Home Depot guy.
Respect for him. A little bit more.
Yeah, I met him at Home Depot last year. It was an awkward meeting. You know, he's a little awkward. I'm like, hey, man. He's like, hey. Like his energy it's anti-Baker in a weird way, but maybe you need a guy like that in that quarterback.
Never knew that Kyle Trask was built by the Home Depot.
He is.
Yeah.
Really good with handoffs, but
you
when it
can
comes to
kind of tell
ball,
by his very stiff movements that he's, yeah. What are we doing
Bruce
here?
Cannon's Vixen says Biggers is a beefy boy. So
beefy boy. She likes beefy guys. By the way, those of you who don't know, that is another intern of ours. Not only do we have Izzy, but we also have Loose Cannon's Vixen, who's going to be joining us next week on the show. Okay? Izzy's going to get a night off. He's going to get to chill, throw his feet up in the closet he lives in, and watch the show as opposed to being a part of the show. Well, actually, he kind of just watches it too, but yeah. Anyway, Luke, what are we doing here?
Do you like any of those quarterbacks?
I like Tyler Shuck. I think he's my 5th quarterback in this draft. He's the top 5 quarterback. He is the Demetrius Knight of the quarterback class. He's an older guy. He's going to be 25. Had some injuries.
Kyle are the same age.
I don't like quarterback at 189, Luke. Sorry. You know,
That's
I know
fine.
you're a general manager, but I'm probably going to call the ownership if you decide to go quarterback here. Okay.
Yeah, because the defensive lineman and linebacker here we're going to get is going to make as much of an impact as a quarterback would. Okay.
I mean, you could have had a guy named Tonka on the team, but you fucked it all up because you wanted
I did.
So
I'm not afraid of double dipping at linebacker here. If we go Higgins and then we still get Ted Yee at 232, that's what I'm happy about.
So you want to go Higgins here?
Yeah, I go Higgins here.
All right, I can't see him here. Where is he on my screen? Let's get him just. Sorry, guys. A little technical difficulty here. All right. This is your pick, huh? Stank, give me that noise, man. Give me that sound. Let's go. Damn, hit us with the seal styling on that one.
I love it.
Linebacker.
He's getting
out of
better
Iowa.
and better at these sounds.
Yeah, man. We got a hell of a draft right now, boys. I mean, we got an edge rusher in Izaraku. Okay, we got Darian Porter is prototypical Todd Bowles corner for this scheme. Got Kevin Winston Jr., the next Antoine Winfield Jr. Okay, we got two guys junior in the back of the secondary. That's going to be awesome. Guy's going to elevate everybody back there. We got Quincy Riley out of Louisville. Apparently a very physical corner, by the way. And got a Kyle Williams luxury pick. Then we got Jay Higgins with the trade down from the Indianapolis Colts. We still have two more picks somehow, Luke.
Luke has the chance to do the funniest thing.
What's that?
That's draft Graham Mertz to battle it out
with Luke.
With Kyle Trask. With the battle of the Gator quarterbacks.
Which Gator quarterback will win backup this year? Join us next time on Dragon Ball Z.
The only time I want to see Graham Mertz is at Home Depot. So I don't want to see him playing.
Here's the twist.
That's going to happen if we draft him.
Here's the twist, Luke. He's actually.
I'm going to have a odd conversation with him, kind of like what I did with Brashad Perryman after I said the Bucs should cut him, and then everybody got hurt, and he played his ass off down the stretch, and I had to stand there at his locker like a fucking idiot.
Yeah. So you're the reason he played out of his fucking mind.
We did have a very fun conversation. I literally was like, "Hey, I said you should be cut," and he was like, "Ha ha." It was great. It was I had to eat my crow to his face, which was amazing. That's part of the gig. That's why you do it.
Just so you know, Ted Yee's gone. Okay, so I hope you're fucking happy. Okay, I hope you're fucking happy.
Not Ted Yee.
But listen, Nicholas Martin had a fucking hell of a Senior Bowl week, okay?
Yep.
Kid is going to come with a chip on his shoulder because he's being drafted this fucking low for I don't even know why. Luke, why is he not being talked about? Why is he going to be this
I don't know.
low?
I think he's a fantastic day 3 pick. I think he could go in the 5th, and I'd be like, yep, that makes sense. So it'd be here at the 7th. Again, he's in that same bucket with Ted Yee. So I'm super happy that he's still here. I'm fine taking him here. We double dipped at linebacker. We're elevating the depth, and then we can choose between, hopefully Ty Robinson's still there in 3 picks when we pick again, and we can get Jason Light, his Nebraska guy, on the way out.
Hey, Sam or Luke, come here. Move in real quick. How come you guys hate fat guys?
No, we got him. We're gonna get the fat guy at the end.
Where?
It's Ty Robinson.
We're gonna get Ty Robinson.
Oh, okay. Nobody told me.
We haven't made the quintessential signature Jason Light interior offensive lineman from a no-name school yet. So Marcus Ware is a guy I feel like fits that. I like Clay Webb, but I heard some things about him character-wise. Probably going to take him completely out of that scenario. Right. So probably not going to be that guy. But what do you think of this Marcus Ware guy? Played obviously in Montana State, not exactly the best competition. But dude is a absolute stud otherwise. I don't know how much of that matters. Or, again, it feels like a Jason Light pick. A guy that nobody knows about from a school I didn't even know fucking existed, who has a Bobcat.
Where is he from?
Montana State Bobcats.
Montana State, yeah. I mean, he's fun, obviously, as a guy who played on the other side of the ball. So anytime you do that, you have a great understanding of what you're going against, because that's what you were doing, for a couple of years before that. So that intrigues me. And again, it's a very Jason Light pick. He likes his small school guys. I wonder, again, they brought back Bredesen. They've got Elijah Klein from last year. I don't know if they feel as compelled to bring that guy in this year. I feel like if it's Jason Light's pick between a Nebraska guy and a small school offensive lineman, especially since the need is greater along the defensive line, I would go Robinson here, and he's higher on the board in general. So I'm more worried about him not being there at 235.
And then hopefully Martin is there, and that's your double dip linebacker.
And that's it.
Luke, there's two trade offers. Luke.
No, we're not doing it. Stank.
No, we're not doing it anymore. We only have so many roster spots.
Trade offers.
Stank.
All right.
Give me the sound.
All right.
Imagine being a co-host of a podcast, having a guest come on, and you're relegated to sound effects the entire show, and being excited about it too. Like, look how happy you are.
Any of these men are.
He has owned this role. He's not a phased one.
You are lie about everything. I have no idea. No idea who any of these people are.
I really don't like you, and I do think you're one of the dumbest people I know, but also one of the smartest, dumbest people I know.
Thanks, man.
But I will give you credit, man. You are a fucking team player, dude.
I'm killing it.
You are a team player, and you know what? You are doing a great job tonight. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I could probably name 3 other people in my life who could do a better job at the sound effects than you, but that makes you top 5, dude. That's a big deal.
3 out of 800 million people? I'm good, bro.
That's a lot of people, man.
That's a lot of
5
people.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn good. Izzy couldn't do it.
If this was like the MySpace era, top 8, that's really all you need.
Bro, I spent so much time.
Went back to the MySpace era. Holy smokes.
All right.
That was dramatic. That shit was dramatic. To be like, hey, I noticed I wasn't in your top 8. What the fuck's up with that?
Hey, you know how many boyfriend and girlfriend broke up because of the top 8?
Ended.
Yeah.
You're not in my top 8.
Who's this fucking guy on your top 8? Where the fuck am I, Jennifer? Boom. Out.
Yep.
See you later. Keep
over.
Moving. Yep. All right. Here we are, the final pick of our draft. Okay, we're at 235, round 7 here. And we're hoping that we're going to get that linebacker, Nicholas Martin. And look who's chilling down there, waiting to become a Buck, waiting to learn eagerly by the greatness of the legend of Levante David. Okay, I feel like this is the pick. It's yours, Luke. You never know. You might go quarterback here because you are weird.
The one player I want to point out who's not going to be a Buccaneer in this situation, who's still on the board, Arondé Gadsden II.
Wow.
As a massive slot tight end wide receiver hybrid guy, one of the most fun players in this draft to watch film on. Go watch him play at Syracuse. Again, go listen to Kyle McCord talk about being able to play with Arondé Gadsden II. His dad was a wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins for a little while, so he was well known.
That's how old we are.
Could he be an undrafted free agent, Luke? Is that the guy that you'd probably circle?
Me, on my board, hell no. I would take him in the 3rd, 4th round range. I'm a big fan of his, legit.
Wow. Okay.
I think he's a fantastic player. I think, and again, this is, PFF's board has some differences that I kind of like because it's fun to kind of see how things are different, but I'm a huge fan of his game, man. I think the idea of him being on the board in the late 7th round would just, this is why I would trade back and just get an extra 7th for guys like that. But for the Bucs, I'm double dipping at linebacker all day long just because I love the way it doesn't just elevate the depth and give you, a future to look forward to at the position, but linebackers play every special teams.
Yep.
They are the guys that are the most well-rounded in terms of size, athleticism, physicality, and you got to be smart. And so those guys are always core special teamers on just about every unit, and you got to have good depth there. You're going to be in trouble.
And they're tackling every single game, whether or not they're playing on defense, which is.
And I have it on good authority. Every one of these guys on this list right here, better than KJ Britt. So we can't go wrong.
I could go to the bottom of this list. Whoever this guy is at fucking UB. I didn't even know there's a school called UB. This guy, Sean Dolak, probably better than KJ Britt. All right,
Sean Dolak is amazing. Go watch Sean Dolak play some football.
Go watch Sean Dolak tape right now.
Luke, I feel like you haven't said anything negative about anybody. So I don't know what to. You kind of got to take everything you say with a pound of salt.
Listen, and I take a ton of shit for this all the time because I am very glass half full draft evaluator. And here's why. Because the biggest reason players fail at the next level has very little to do with them and very much to do with everybody else. I think that for me to sit here as a guy who played 1 year of NAIA football and say, this guy is incapable of doing X, Y, or Z at the next level is the dumbest shit I could possibly say. So what I will, and it's not that I'm not critical. What I will say, and you can read this, I wrote 200 scouting reports for the Athlon Sports Draft magazine this year. Okay.
I wrote 300, just so you know, no big deal.
I'm happy for you. But my point is, if you look in the weaknesses section, I can still point out what guys need to get better at without saying, hey, there's some guys in this business that are just he'll never do X, Y, or Z. He can never be this. He'll never be better than this. I think that's the dumbest thing. I get it. So when people are just oh, you never say anything bad about anybody. I frame it in a way that's listen, this is where he can get better. This is where there's room for growth. There's room for growth from everybody in this class. You could say the same thing about Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter as you could about anybody you're picking in the 7th round. So,
except none of these guys on the screen here have any negatives to them. Okay, they are perfect.
Luke,
perfect.
Jonas.
Only the guys we picked, though. The guys we picked are perfect. Everybody else has problems.
And just so you know, Luke, I write the complete opposite of what you're talking about because I firmly believe that negative is how you fix people and how you make people better. Okay, that's how I coach. I never say good job, no pats on the back, no clapping.
That's true.
I'm yelling. Okay,
I can attest.
That's fine, and that's why everyone hates you. And I know you enjoy that, but like
and guess what?
My ego is too fragile. I make
everybody better, Luke. Okay, you're fucking pie in the sky. Everything's rainbows and fucking jelly bean shit. Is that's great for preschool. We're in the big leagues here. Okay, we're in the men's league. Okay. So while you're out there writing 200 articles of positivity, I got 200 articles of negative shit. All right.
I think
I didn't call me a big brain wizard. You said that. So that's
because you remind me of a wizard. You got long, illustrious hair. Okay.
Yeah. But he can't let it down, bro. Listen, right now we've got almost a month until the draft. Okay. When he comes back, week of the draft. You're coming back week of the draft, right, Luke? You better.
I'm gonna actually look like Gandalf. I'll just be.
You're gonna put moose in your hand.
Yes, I was about to say.
Hold on, Luke. Hold on. What are you doing on draft night? You want to be our draft expert for the draft show?
I would hesitate to commit to anything on actual draft night. I'm sure I will be very.
You are coming on the show.
Luke just said you can't afford him. That's basically what he said.
Wow.
Bro, do you know he played NAIA, bro?
Bro. How many? What say it? How many letters? How many A's? How many N's?
There's 4 letters in it. And by the way, Jonas Steckler says he played NAIA as well. So maybe I don't know. Played at Dickinson State.
I'm the pride of Kentucky Christian University. And
I need the sound effects so we can wrap this episode up. Wow.
I'm using that sound clip now.
Finished it.
Nicholas Martin, a linebacker out of Oklahoma State, somehow, one of the studs of Senior Bowl week is now a Tampa Bay Buccaneer in the 7th fucking round. What a pick! What a pick!
What a draft!
Sammer finally gets his guy.
He's one of my draft crushes. Like,
yeah, Luke graded out
on the back end there. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see how he graded out. A+, B+, A, B, A, C, C, C.
You got an A- overall. Okay,
bottom 31%.
Made some moves.
Better than our last draft.
Is it? Let's get that in the screen there. All right, there we go. There's your whole draft there, Luke.
Yeah. You know what?
I'm pretty good right there, bro.
You know what? Defensive coaches on this team right now, elated. Offensive coaches, they're like, fuck you.
I mean, they got Kyle Williams, dude. This guy possibly fixes special teams. Okay. Possibly fixes special teams right there. I think that is that a guy you could put back there on punt and kick return coverage or not coverage on?
I think you could do that. Yeah. I mean, again, you're much more concerned these days. Everybody in the old days is like, oh, we need somebody fast. We need somebody who can create these big plays. You need somebody who can catch the ball first and foremost. Like, you need somebody who can track, who can make smart decisions, who is fearless. Those things apply to Kyle Williams. But that's really what people are looking for. It's less about can we make big plays. It's can we not fumble the ball away? Can we not make fair catches at the 4-yard line? Can we not, we got to make smart decisions and hold on to the football. I think that's what most special teams coach. If you can't do that, I don't care how fast you are because the ball's never going to be in your hands in the first place.
Yeah, we fumbled away our playoff win last year. So true words.
I'm telling you, man, this draft class right here, something for everybody on the defensive line. We addressed every level of the defensive line. And we still got somebody on offense. But again, for a team that was top 5 in the NFL in both rushing and passing on offense last year, and was as bad and as banged up and as thin as they were on defense at every level last year, this is exactly what this draft needs to look like for the Bucs.
Hell yeah. Luke, this was awesome. You were ridiculously good at this. You know your shit. That's why I called you the big brain draft wizard. Let people know where they can get more of you, where they can read your stuff, listen to you. I don't know how much FaceTime you do. Probably going to have to get you on the show more often from here on out because people are huge fans of yours now. I'm not a big fan of the backdrop behind you. We'll fix that, though. No big deal. Let people know where they can watch, read, listen, all of it from the Luke Easterling.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. It's still Twitter to me because it was Twitter before, and we still own it as people. So still Twitter at Luke Easterling. Pretty simple. All my stuff is at athlonsports.com. Got scouting reports. I do a 3 or 4 round mock draft every Thursday morning. So every week you're getting a fresh 3 or 4 round mock at Athlon Sports. Like I said, go pick up the magazine if you still like holding the magazine. I still like the actual like physical media, so I love having that magazine. You can order it online off the website. You can get it at Publix or Barnes & Noble or wherever you get your magazines. And I launched a new podcast last month called BPA, Best Podcast Available. It's the Athlon Sports NFL Draft Show. So we've had Trevor Sycamore, we've had Booger McFarland, we've had Doug Farrar, who's one of the best NFL writers in the business. Great group of guests. We just had Teron Davenport on. I recorded today talking about all the Titans stuff. So if you want a league-wide perspective on the draft, go check out the new podcast, subscribe to that. And yeah, that's it.
Boom. Awesome.
So just a heads up, Dr. Pless jumped into chat. He said, good draft. Not a fan of the Jay Higgins, though.
All right, Luke, go ahead. Fucking slay him right now. Let him know how.
That's again, not the most complete linebacker in the draft. I would like more complete guys, but that's what you get. Like day 3, late rounds, you're not going to get everything you want. So I had identified a trait that I wanted, which was to get better in coverage at the second level. Jay Higgins does that. And so I feel like filling that trait and me being able to try to fix the other things and the deficiencies there, not quite the athlete you want him to be. But again, you're elevating special teams. You're raising the floor of your roster, because at that point, it's less about, gee, I really hope I get a starter in the 5th or 6th round, and more, how can I make specific units better? How can I get better at specific things? Bucs linebackers couldn't cover anybody outside of Levante last year, and so he makes them better in that way.
Hey, you guys ever gone to those nightclubs where they have 2 DJs who battle it out on different sides of the club?
Yeah.
What if we were to
yes.
Yeah. What if we were to get you and Pless in here and have you guys just go back and forth battle draft? We'll do a battle
all day.
draft.
Let's go.
That would be that would be great.
He said where and when. That's what he said.
That's right.
He said
Pless.
where and when.
He's not afraid. He's going to
Okay.
battle draft you.
Yeah.
What?
Let's go.
Battle draft.
Let's go. Time
The
and pace,
battle
baby.
I like it.
Let's roll.
I think you just may have come up with an incredible concept. Battle draft.
Battle draft. Who
He
can
doesn't
come
like
up
Jay
with the
Higgins,
best
and
mock
he
draft?
no longer is a doctor. He lost his license, so don't
Yeah.
call him fucking doctor.
Also,
Dude, battle
neither-
draft,
What?
loose cannons. It's all right there.
Also,
baby.
neither of you fucking love Nick Nash, Patty Whack, give my dog the ball.
That's true.
so-
Both of you guys
okay.
are on.
He's a
on
jack. He's just a
Wow.
guy.
Not just
He's
a guy.
just a guy.
If he gets a
I don't-
haircut, he's an absolute dog. Okay.
Okay,
You're-
well,
it's
okay.
being
One more
disrespectful.
thing.
Izzy, what's
one more
up?
thing. I just noticed we were talking about KJ Britt a whole lot. Did we forget that KJ Britt's no longer a Buccaneer? He signed with Miami.
Yeah, we're aware.
We're aware.
Okay, I'm just
saying-
making sure because like I'm
We're
just
saying we
making
don't
sure
ever-
because
we
like
don't ever
We're just
think of
glad
that.
that's never going to happen again. That's all.
Yeah.
Like, and now
Okay, 'cause
Anthony
I was
Walker
like-
Jr. is the floor of the linebacker position.
Yeah.
And that's much better.
Luke, also, man, before we go, I got to give you props. You have one of the most pristine Buccaneers Super Bowl hats from 2003.
Yes.
Okay. I noticed it immediately. Those of us who were fans back then understood that was the hat you bought the next day online or at Foot Locker. Okay.
No,
And
that was
your
actually
hat-
that was actually Monty Kiffin's hat he wore during the game. Gave it to Luke.
No.
Wait,
it
what are you
says
talking? You
champ-
talking about this hat?
It says
That hat right
champions
Yes,
on
that
it.
hat.
It says champions.
This
on it.
is the new one. This is the 2020 hat.
Oh, it is?
Does it have the old?
Yeah,
has
the
the old
2002 hat was white and it had like a weird blue swoosh.
Why does it
on
look
this
like
side.
the old logo, though?
It kind of looks like the old
Yeah, it's-
skull, but
Oh no, it has the
All right,
modern.
you're right. All right, my
logo,
bad.
yeah.
All right. That was all right. I
This,
take all my props
this
that I
looks
gave you.
similar. This looks more similar to the NFC Champs hat from that year, which was
That's what it
black.
is.
That's
It
it.
had like the little white
Yeah.
grooves in here
Yeah.
with the NFC logo on it. I do have a very pristine one of those, but it's back home in Tampa.
Yes.
I think my dad has it.
That's what I
but
thought
have-
you were wearing the whole time. And I
No,
think it
that's
got
the
crisscrossed.
locker room Super Bowl hat this time.
All right. Hey, listen, we'll see you guys next week, possibly Thursday for some shenanigans. But maybe next week it's Monday, mock draft Monday. Maybe we turn that into battle draft. Okay. We're going to find out. We're going to see what we can do. I know Luke has nothing to do on Monday nights, so it's, that's obviously a go from him. Hey, Luke, fucking awesome, dude. Awesome to hang out with you again. You did amazing. What a draft. I mean, if anyone asks you what the Bucs should do, just point them in the direction of this show. Okay.
Yep.
That's all you got to do. I'll drop the
Sure.
link for you. It was a perfect night. Other than Nick Nash,
Yep,
Patty Whack,
we did
that's
it.
pretty good.
You know what? We drafted a really good team there, and I'm proud of us.
More importantly, we have badass sound effects, and that's really put it over
We
the
really
top.
did have
Stank
good
with
sound
the
effects.
best sound effects ever.
Thanks,
If
man.
PFF knew what the sound effects were doing, they would have given us an A+ all day.
You've done
hell yeah.
You've done 200 different write-ups. I've been practicing that at least 200 times.
It shows. It shows, man. I can see the development.
Did you see the range, Luke? We were getting orchestra version of it.
Yes.
Then we got the seal. Then we got a little bit of LaBouche in there in the middle. Got a
We're
little
only
bit of
scratching the
Usher.
surface.
Yeah, I
Yep.
mean,
Some sort of techno.
yeah. We've gotten a
Yeah,
lot.
Techno wasn't my greatest one, but
Are you the Tom Cruise of sound effects?
yeah, I'll take it.
Ooh.
Gotta love Tom.
Yeah, Clayface now. All right, hey, we'll see you guys later in the week, possibly next week as well. Let us know in the comment section how well or how terrible we did. And make sure you guys also like and subscribe, share the episode. We are working on some cool stuff that we will hopefully unveil on Friday, okay? Some stuff I've been working on. Been in the lab, okay? Working hard with my team of 65 interns / anyway, we'll see you guys next week, and go Bucs.